Can I ask a question while we're waiting?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna
Is
be
this a
moving on.
pattern? Is this a pattern question? Should I get my pattern out?
It's a pattern question, but it's a pretty basic question. Probably you could probably gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is so basic. So I'm working on the hem now. So I was just reading ahead to the sleeve. So I'm on
Mm.
page 8. Um, so okay. Put sleeve stitches back onto spare needle. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
So right now your stitches for your sleeves should be on barber cord.
Yep,
Yep.
they are.
So it's just telling you to get them back off the barber cord onto a needle.
So not a spare needle. Onto the
Ah,
needle I'm going to be using.
oh, actually, what did I do? I don't think I used a spare needle. Did anybody else do that? No, I just used my regular. Teresa shook
Okay.
her head. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Maybe,
Do
I don't
you,
know.
so part two to that question is, do you think shorties would work on the sleeve if I'm picking up stitches? You think I could do that?
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little snug for you up at the top, and you might want to be careful that you're not having stitches pop off. But
Okay.
it's the decreases start to happen pretty quickly after that, so you should be okay.
Okay. All right. Or I could
Yay, sleeves! Good for you.
not quite there, but almost. I'm on the hem,
Getting
halfway
there.
through the hem.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening.
Has anyone ever had to join yarn when they're binding off?
Oh, Teresa's nodding. Tell us, Teresa.
Oh, I'm afraid that might happen to me.
I just tied a knot and it was because I was stupid.
What
I
do you
cut it
mean?
too
It's because you're
short.
stupid.
I
You
cut it too short. I did a very poor job estimating how much I needed because it was like using a needle for the bind off.
okay. But I'm thinking now that I'm talking about it, I could probably, if I needed to, because of the yarn I'm using, I could spit splice it.
Oh, you sure can. Oh, yeah.
That could do that too. Okay. I mean, hopefully I run out before then, but if I don't and I underestimate it, I'm like, what do I do if that happens?
I mean, if you're worried, you could change before the bind off,
True.
and just sort of accept that maybe you have a little bit of waste yarn there.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, y'all.
Well, welcome everybody. This is our second to last Zoom for the Sea Haven. And next week we'll have our slideshow, which
Oh,
will be
yeah.
awesome. I've continued to get some pictures coming in, so thank you for that. In this week's email, I'll send out more details about like the deadline. But I really try hard to get everybody's in, even if it's last minute. Yeah. So how's it coming? How are these Sea Havens coming?
I don't know if my audio is on or off.
It is, we can hear you.
Oh, hi. Hey, everybody. This morning, I finally took the yoke off the needles.
Ooh, I'm gonna spotlight you. Keep holding it up. Hold it kind of still. Let's see if it will come into focus. Pull it back just a little bit from your camera. Could be because of your blurred background. You might need, oh, there we
Oh,
go.
there it is.
Oh,
It is.
yes.
Very nice.
So I'm going to attempt to block it, and then go on. I read some of the instructions coming up, and I'm a tiny bit intimidated, but I got through this, so holding on
You
for.
got it. What's intimidating to you? Do you want to poll the group and we can?
I've never done this. I've never made something with sleeves that aren't like, that you just stitch in. I've never done one whole piece.
Okay.
This is a brand new thing for me, so it's very intriguing, but a little nerve-wracking.
Well, some of us really love to not have seams to sew up, so this could be a whole new world of fun for
Oh,
you.
I'm looking forward to a life without seams.
Seamless life, what we
Yeah,
all aspire to. Yeah, I mean, I feel a pretty straightforward pattern for giving the instructions. We do have all the video resources in the YouTube playlist that you might want to touch base on, particularly like if you're wondering about what does it mean to pick up and knit the stitches at the underarm, that kind of a thing.
right.
But it's kind of cool how it all comes together.
I can't, I'm so excited. Because I have been stalling to even get to this, you know, but that it just came off and it fits. Oh my God. It
Yeah.
just
Yay!
so I'm just getting
And
getting
it
my
fits. I just love that. And also that is a cool thing about these top-down sweaters too, is being able to just pop it right over your head and
yeah.
midstream figure out how it's working out for you.
Yeah. So yes, I'm feeling successful and nervous at the same time, but that's kind of the way I roll anyway.
I love the feeling successful and nervous. It's such a good way to capture what it means to try something new like this that you're
Right.
doing.
And also, I think there's only 3 weeks left for me to get ready for this trip to your part of the world.
Remind us where you're coming from again. California?
Los Angeles.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But we
That-
also have a shore on this side, but it's not as beautiful as shores on your side.
Oh, the Pacific's pretty amazing, but we'll be excited to see you in the shop. And let's see, last weekend we had Vicky who joined us. She has a place here in Maine. And she joined us for the Carbeth knit along, and she was up checking out at her place, which is south of here on one of the peninsulas called Five Islands. And her husband and son decided to do a schooner afternoon sail, so she had a couple hours. So smart enough person that she didn't bring the husband and the son along. They had their own activity, so she felt unhurried, and we had such a fun time browsing through some yarns for some projects. She had this she had this little post-it note. She needed yarn for a Scudic Bay. She needed yarn for the party sweater that I designed, and she was also looking for yarn for something for her niece. And it's just so fun to connect with people in real life. And then it was great because it happened to be on our Sunday when we were doing the knit along. And even though she wasn't doing the knit along, of course, we were like, come on, sit down with us. So she sat and knit with us for a little bit too.
Yeah, I saw your outdoor baskets of knitting and I got so excited.
And when is your trip?
It's the June 19th through the 24th. Trip.
Oh, right. Oh, because you're doing the sale. Sorry. Are you doing yes. Okay. The connections have connected finally. Yes, you're doing the sale. Fabulous. I think June is one of my favorite months. I also love September, but our weather can be very variable. As you know, today it is 85 degrees. Okay. I mean, wow.
What? It's like 62 here. How is that possible?
I dug out some shorts, and I just was taking the dog, and it's humid. It's just that humid heat, which I'm sure our friends in the South, like Susan, you're like, oh yeah, it's humid in 85. This is normal for us in New Orleans, but
still in Maine, that's pretty warm at this time of the year.
Yeah. And I thought initially, at first I saw the forecast was gonna be pretty hot, but then it seemed like it was maybe a little bit cooler, and then wow, it came in pretty strong. So who knows, by the time you get here in June, we could be back to 60s. It's just never really know.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain out loud about the weather in California, but it's been unseasonably cool for the last couple months,
Hmm,
which my husband loves and I don't. So
gotcha. Anybody have a Sea Haven update for us or other knitting, since we all might have other projects that we keep getting distracted by? I know I'm one of those people. Although my Sea Haven's done, but yeah.
Like that started, yeah.
I separated for my sleeves this morning. So I'm
oh, let me see.
Oh, I'm gonna pin you right now. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Gorgeous.
that was my goal, was to get to that point. I leave tomorrow for Ireland. So I
Oh,
wanted to I had hoped that I would have it finished, but then life got in the way and I didn't. So my goal was to at least separate for the sleeves so I could just work on the body. And
yes.
I did that this morning amidst the packing. And I put too much pressure on myself when I travel. I clean the house and do
Right.
do all that stuff. Plus, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to sit down, enjoy a cup of coffee, and get to the point where I need to get to. And I did, and I'm very happy. So I will take a picture of what I have
Yes.
and send that to you. And then I will wear it when Teresa, Custy, and I come up in beginning of August, and I'll wear it to the shop.
Oh, so
That'll
good.
be that'll be my next goal, is to
Your
have it
next
finished
goal.
by then.
Okay, so tell us the burning question I think we probably all have, which is, well, what are you taking to knit in Ireland? Is there a special travel size project you're going to take with you?
I thought about it, and then I didn't check with Aer Lingus to see what their policy was for carrying knitting needles. And I thought about packing some, but we're going to be so busy when we're over there that I don't think I'll have time. And while I'm over there, I plan to look for yarn, of course. We're going to the Aran Islands one day to spend the day there.
Ooh,
So I'm going to pick up some yarn and have it shipped home.
hooray.
That's
Okay,
nice.
well, when we connect with you during the finish along, we will expect or hope for, if you're willing to do some yarn show and tell, we would, I think, all probably be curious about that.
Sure.
And who are you going to Ireland with, did you say? Are you with a group or?
A group. There's a restaurant in New Paltz, New York here, that is owned by a gentleman named Garvin McCluskey. He and his wife, and they're both Irish citizens. They have dual citizenship, and they've now, for I want to say 7, maybe 8 years, have taken groups over during the summer and show the best of Ireland. And it's really fun because we stay in 4- and 5-star hotels, and one night we stay overnight in a castle, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, we see a lot of touristy things, but we also see a lot of things that Garvin and Leonie want to show us. And it's just nice to see Ireland through the Irish themselves,
Oh, it's always such a great option to be able to have someone who has that local knowledge and,
Yep.
I'm sure it feels like, showing new friends, like, the home place.
This will
Nice.
be my fourth trip with them.
Oh, great.
I kind of like it there.
I guess you do.
You have Irish relatives?
Um, yes, in like, I think it was like my great grandmother, if I remember correctly, but somewhere in the distance. But it doesn't matter. Once you're
Yeah,
in
well,
Ireland,
I was
it's like
wondering if,
you're just, you become Irish.
right?
Love that. So nice.
My ancestry says, my ancestry.com says that I'm from every Northern European country. You just haven't missed one. Yeah.
True melting pots.
Yes, that's exactly, yeah.
In
And
person.
by the time all of these people left Europe, Northern Europe, they hit, they hit certain places and it shows through DNA, like the early American colonizers, that people went to the South. I have none of those genes.
Hmm.
So Northern, it's genetic.
Wow.
So
Let's see. Anybody else have anything to share? Teresa, can I just ask, have you started with the clue 1 for your mystery knit along with Kate Davies?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through that. So making good progress on that. And then on my Sea Haven, I am almost done with the second sleeve. So
Wow. Wait,
Ooh.
hold it back
Can
up.
we
Let me
see?
get the spotlight on. Look at that. Oh,
That's really beautiful.
so
by
beautiful.
almost done, I mean I am 3 stitches away from the bind off. So
Well, I guess you can say you're almost done then. That's pretty much spot on, huh? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So done. I am fiddling around with a little swatch because I keep meaning to make time to make a little video about that tubular cast on that didn't make my brain hurt that I think we talked about a couple weeks ago, and I just haven't. I've been super busy, but I just did this one, which will be sort of like what I show at the beginning of my video. So like that looks pretty tubular bind off, right? It looks pretty much like what you do. So so yeah, that's what I'm playing around with here. Karen, good to see you join us.
Hello. Yep, just pulled in from work.
Great.
I'll have to send pictures of mine of a partial Sea Haven because it is not even close. This might be a good, well, probably everyone's past this part, I don't know, but when I was doing the reducing thing, I didn't reduce as much, like I didn't go down, or I didn't go up, excuse me, to as many stitches because I didn't want it that wide. And when it came time to take the sleeve part and put it on the waist yarn, I didn't count the stitches properly and got all the way through that and didn't have enough stitches, like they weren't even. So I had to go all the way back, take all those sleeve stitches off, put them back on the needle and figure it back out. So put me behind slightly, but it's all a learning process, right?
Yeah.
You faced a stiff wind on your Sea Haven journey and you got blown back a little bit.
It's okay. It's going to be good. And I've learned so much on these knit alongs, which makes them very valuable.
Awesome. So good to hear that.
I'd kind of like to echo what Karen was saying. I too have learned a lot and become a better knitter from being involved with the knit alongs because I'm not afraid to challenge myself now with certain things. Like before I would look at a pattern and go, yep, nope, walking away from that one. And now it's like, oh wait, I can do that. All right,
Yes,
I'll try this. So yeah.
it's true. It's really
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yep.
That is so nice to hear. I mean, when I talk to people in the store about our Zoom group, and when we have knit alongs, we always like to make some space for our remote goats to meet. And I say, it's surprising to us that it can feel so much like a group of people that are sharing the same physical space around a table at a yarn store. You know, we're sharing these tips, we're encouraging each other, we're taking some more risks. And it's just, I mean, COVID bright spot that got us all onto Zoom and comfortable with Zoom.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm.
Prior to COVID, people would have been way not willing to do this, but it's kind of a new world. And I mean, it's really cool. Like physically, I'm not that far from Camden, less than 3 hours, but I can't come to Camden every week. So this allows me to be able to be part of it, which is really fun.
Oh, great.
I also like to hear when somebody's made a mistake or they've done something and it's like, oh wait, I've done that. You know, so you're not alone with the things that you've done goofy or made mistakes or whatever.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it makes you not afraid to admit that, yeah, I messed up. But when you hear that someone else did too, then you learn from that. And
Yep.
then maybe you don't make that mistake again.
Totally.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, what the heck happened with my yoke? Why was it so giant? I thought I did a good accurate gauge swatch, but to know, yeah, I think there's definitely something where, you know, when we know, and I mean, to me, I'm also feeling like I'm so excited when folks are sharing the things they're discovering, and it's so helpful for me to be able to connect with the knitters here in this group and in person, because then I, you know, can start to, oh yeah, somebody on Zoom was talking about that part of the pattern being challenging, or, you know, just sort of helps me connect with where are people going to maybe need a little more support when I'm writing those emails, or even in person, like, oh yeah, that question came up, or oh, maybe I should add that to the email. And so it's definitely helpful for me in terms of making what I send out to you guys a little more, yeah, hopefully on target for you. Well, something that happened, I don't know if anybody saw the podcast, me or Kristen and I recorded, but I had picked out my colors for the mystery knit along with Kate Davies, and I had some beautiful yarns, a yarn that I love working with, Kathmandu DK, and I thought, sorry, I have to grab it, another needle. I thought that I loved the colors. They look great. And then I started knitting the first clue of the shawl, and I just wasn't feeling fun. It wasn't feeling like me. I don't know. They still were nice colors, but there was nothing that sort of made me go like, woohoo, this is awesome. And I had pulled it out. I'd tried different needle sizes. I'd played with even different color placements, and I just had to kind of decide that, like, we've all been there, right? Where you get a little way into a pattern, or you've picked yarn and bought yarn even and wound it up and gotten yourself ready. And then you're going along like, ooh, I don't know. And I think an earlier version of myself might have just soldiered on and been like, well, I'm going to stick with it because this is what I chose. But, you know, I got some good advice from the in-store Monday knitting group, and they were like, yeah, I mean, not worth it. Trust your gut on this. You know, if it's not feeling right, don't stick with it because you just won't enjoy it as much. So I made a change, and they helped me pick out some new colors, and I'm really much happier with my palette now. Feels much more like me. And yeah, I pick it up and I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. This is right. So
Good.
It's good to hear that story. It reminds me that I would hold my heels to the fire, you know, for 10 years in doing something one way. And then, like your story, like I just started to unravel all of a sudden, and so be it. Yeah.
yeah, yep. And to know that, gosh, with the amount of time that we're going to put in, this investment that I've made in the yarn
Right.
already, it's still not going to be worth it if I don't enjoy it.
Well, I'll share with full transparency. I was pushing through on mine, and I I just wasn't, there, you know, it wasn't for me. I actually moved on to something else and set it aside. And then when people started showing, like, I started seeing the finished products, it sort of hit me. I think I wasn't using the right yarn. Like it was the right size and everything, but it just, it was a looser weave cotton. It had, it was a solid color, but it had a decorative thread through it. And like the patterning just wasn't standing out. So over the weekend, I went back in my stash and I found a solid color. And I think this is going to be better. So I'm going to be nowhere near, like, I'm hoping I get the yoke done at least maybe for next week. But I mean, yeah, when I set it aside for a week and like didn't touch it at all, and I was like, okay, I think, and then like I say, seeing everybody else's, I was like, oh no, this isn't what I think, you know, this wasn't the right yarn for it. But I still struggle with that, you know, it's like trying to pick out yarns, because you know, like the patterns always have like, oh, this is what we use, but you know, it's like trying to figure out like what's a good match, not just, you know, size wise or content wise, but like, you know, like I went back and looked at the summer yarn that was in the pattern, and the mix of fibers in it. I was like, oh yeah, they probably knit up a lot differently than just a plain 100% loose cotton, you know. So.
And I think that also, that really, I mean, Beth, what you shared, like it's true that, and sometimes you don't necessarily, even when you swatch, like it doesn't necessarily tell you what you need to know about that yarn in the context of the pattern. And like, I don't know if anybody saw the picture that I put on Instagram from last weekend with Emma. She finished her short sleeve Sea Haven, and I can't remember the yarn. It had a little Angora, but also maybe cotton in it. And she knit it with a little like less ease than the pattern and, you know, specified. It looked so great. And it was like totally the right yarn for the project. And she was like, I wasn't sure, but I had this, so I was gonna try it. And it really worked out. But it can be tricky. And those textured stitches, I think, you know, they like to have a high twist yarn, like the monochrome that, you know, Teresa and Gwen are using is a great example of that. And yeah, so it's always interesting, like as we're picking yarns and talking to people about yarns, and also just, I think it really makes a difference with like what the pattern pictures look like too. Anyway, interesting, all interesting. Somebody really ended up not liking how her, I think she was using the vintage DK, and she felt like the German short rows were leaving this big hole, and it was kind of noticeable. And so we talked about it, and I said, well, you could do wrap and turn as an alternative because that's a little bit tighter. But she ultimately decided, you know what? She is a pretty petite person. And she's like, I don't think I need the short rows. I'm just gonna knit it straight, you know? And but again, that was some ripping back.
So with those short rows, because they're done a lot farther down than where you usually do it, because you usually do it like right at the top of the neckline. So what is the difference between doing them and not doing them then? Like how might it affect the fit?
Well, so I mean, the short rows being down below the yoke just has to do with like, because she didn't want to interfere with the you know, have to deal with short rowing amidst all the textured stitches, which totally makes sense. That would be real annoying. And I've seen it in other sweaters too, where it's lower down. I mean, it has the same effect. It raises the back of the neck. So I think like the Anker summer shirt, no short rows, right? You just hop right into the neck, and it's basically identical front and back side. Now, depending, I think it maybe have going without short rows and without raising that neck up. If you're a curvier, maybe bustier person, that those short rows might help you feel like it fits fits a little bit more evenly, I guess, across the like, you know, curvy front part of our body versus the flat back part of our body. So that this individual is pretty petite. So it seemed like, yeah, skip them if you don't want them, because I think it's going to fit her fine either way.
Huh, okay. I didn't know what the short rows were for. Because I don't, it's very rare that I do short rows. But I see what you're saying. You're saying that part, just that last part of the yoke brings up the neck and the back. Is that what you're saying?
So when you're going back and forth with short
Right.
rows, you're basically, you know, you're building up this one part of your sweater. So it's going to overall raise up the back of your sweater a little bit higher than your front. That's all.
That's neat to know.
Yeah, it's a cool shaping technique. I mean, you know, I love to think about the people who, you know, first turned a heel in a sock, you know, like who was the first person to do that? And then maybe somebody down the road was like, oh yeah, that thing we do with when we turn a heel for a sock, if we do it with short rows, that is. Well,
Right.
that maybe we could shape a garment a little bit more fitted. You know, I don't just, it's inventive minds, right? Hi, Teresa.
Hi,
Good to see you.
glad I could make it. It's one of those
Yeah.
afternoons, you know. So getting down to the wire, 5 weeks. Well, after this week 4. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's the big like hold on to your, like it seems. And are you middle school?
I'm not.
No.
Our kids are the last in the elementary, so they're the top dogs, you know. I think they're all that and a slice of bread. So we got senioritis going on. So
Yeah, yes. I mean, and I feel like because my husband's middle school, he teaches middle school, and I feel like these people have celebrations all the time. You know, gets to be this time of year, and it's the sculpture race celebration, and then it's you know, there seems, and then it's the spring concert, and then it's the like so many things.
yes. Yep. And what I'm excited about, we get give back days for our snow days. They're not part of our calendar. I mean, they're in the calendar, but they're not part of our working time.
Mhm.
So we get those back. We had 8 in our calendar, and this winter was like non-existent. We used we used half, so we had 4. They added 1 at Easter break, spring break, and then we have 3 on Memorial Day. So I have Friday off, I have Monday off, and I have Tuesday and Wednesday off.
Wow.
So
Now, I feel like that is a really humane schedule for this time of year. Like, let's give people an extra long weekend so they can garner their resources, they can have a weekend, they can do their chores, they can hopefully relax, and they can do the final push.
right? But I know that the high school's got to be freaking out because they're getting ready for, in New York State, we have Regents exams. So I think that the high school's freaking out over having to get that review in and missing those 3 days. I have a feeling is getting them a little nervous, but I'll take it. I'm going to take it. So I'm good.
So do you have special plans for your extra long weekend, or?
Nope.
No? That's nice.
I actually have the air conditioner guy coming Friday morning, so I have to be home. So that's fine. After that, no real big, we're, you know, Memorial Day stuff, we're going with family, but the days off, I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing.
So good to hear.
Yes. Yes.
So here's a question. When do y'all go back to school?
We back the day after Labor Day.
Okay. Because our schools here in the New Orleans area, our last day for kids is tomorrow.
Yep.
But we go back in early August.
Right. A lot of
Yeah.
schools do. Yeah. I have family. My sister-in-law teaches out in California, and her situation's the same. They're very
Okay.
August. She's done right about now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard in Maine schools because I don't I mean, maybe there are some, but like even our newer buildings don't typically have air conditioning.
We don't have air conditioning.
Right,
Oh my God.
right. And that's a
So
big deal.
it's pretty rough.
Yeah. I-
Yeah. In my old library, we had, and it was it was only a 20-year-old building. That doesn't seem like that long, but the windows that we had like looked over this patio, and it's a south facing side. And then
Mm.
there's this really high ceiling with like these ornamental windows up at the top that where there's a roof over that would just like beam heat into and
Oh.
it was so hot. And finally, like a few years ago, we got some like window air conditioners put in, but it was pretty, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have any air conditioning in some of our classrooms do that were added on, but most of them don't. Like I went and had my hair done after work. So if you had seen me after having been in my classroom today at 88 degrees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Ooh.
But so I have to share about my my Sea Haven. So I had it done, right? So it was all finished.
Yep.
And then I wore it and it stretched out like craziness. Yeah. So full disclosure, when I finished it, I wet blocked it. That's all I did to it. I wet blocked it. I put it in the washing machine to spin it. I put it in a sweater bag, put it in a washing machine to spin it. Came out fine. I set it.
Uh-oh. We're on the edge of our seats here. I hope she unfreezes so we can
You're frozen, T.
maybe she'll
I'll text her.
reconnect in a sec.
So would that potentially be a property of the yarn? The type of yarn she used? Okay.
Yep. So Tillie is one of our newer yarns. It was brand new this spring. So we actually didn't have experience with people already having used it. But the cool part of it was a kind of interesting dye in terms of it being a bit semi-solid, kind of. There were like these dark, it's hand painted, and it's cotton plus a material called cupro, which what we understand about cupro is it's this byproduct of the cotton industry. So it's like, I imagine like these are like little bits that are maybe too small to use or something. And so it's kind of cool that there's a recycled component. And I thought that yarn had a little bit of a chainette structure that potentially could be helpful in adding structure to those short fibers like cotton. Sorry, we lost you. We were on our edge of our seat, Teresa. So thank goodness you got back in here.
You text her.
Yes, you said that. And then you were all frozen but me.
Oh.
And then it kicked me out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm having, as they say in baseball, the yips with my technology.
Mm.
Yeah, I froze again. No, are you frozen?
You're not no, you're good. Okay.
All right, so it stretched out. I had blocked it, wore it, stretched out. So then I was like, well, what do I do? So I thought about the old shaker knit sweaters that were popular in the 80s and 90s that everybody was wearing. And I remember we threw those in the dryer like it was nothing. I said, you know what? I'm going to try the dryer. And I did. And it really fits much nicer now.
Oh.
So I put it in the dryer on low.
Mm-hmm.
That helped. It helped. It fits better. It doesn't feel like it's as stretchy as it was. So I don't know what that was. I know this has, they blew in that, is it
cupro? Yeah. And Teresa,
can
can you remind me, is it like a chainette? Like, is there a
Yes.
chain okay. Yep.
Yes. So it's a chainette and they blew that in from what I remember hearing. That comes out. Little bit of that comes out in the wash. Like I have it, I had it show up in the bag, in the sweater bag I had it in. And then it showed up a lot in the lint trap of my dryer. And that, I thought that was interesting.
So I mean, this is a brand new yarn, as I was saying when you were reconnecting. So we did not have anybody who, we had no experience with how this would hold up. So you're saying you think like the little bits of cupro like come off as almost like a little fuzz?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So it does come out a little bit. Not on, and I didn't have anything on, like I had on a camisole underneath. I didn't get that on. I didn't get the fuzz on the camisole. You know how sometimes you put something on and you take it, you see the fuzz. I didn't see any fuzz on the camisole, and that was a cotton camisole, so it would have collected.
Right.
I did. After I washed it and dried it, I put it on and I wore it for a little while around the house, and I didn't feel the same stretchiness that I felt when I had it before. So, I'm guessing I might have to dry it more than I would normally dry a sweater.
I feel like that's not uncommon for our linen and cotton yarns. I hear that from a lot of people too, that, it helps it reset in its shape. I think Kristen was just talking about this the other day with a cotton remix chunky sweater she has. She just has to toss it in the dryer.
I saw that on the thing,
at the podcast. And I definitely have to do that with my Anker summer shirt. Like, I don't throw it in for super long, but it does really need to be kind of like
right. Like wool will, you just wet wool when it sort of finds its way back. Whereas with this, you wet it and then it's like really stretched out.
There's no memory in cotton, right?
No.
Yeah.
But it's very comfortable. Even when I had it on and it was stretching like crazy, it was like, wow, this feels nice. And it was a warm day and it was comfortable. So
nice.
Yeah. So that was the findings I had. I wanted to share those.
Thank you. This is important. I will report to Kristen and the other staff just so we have that awareness.
And it also seems to have more, the stitches seem to be more defined on it now than it was before.
Oh.
Okay.
What was this yarn that you did with?
It's the Tillie. It's Berroco, I think. Berroco Tillie.
What was the distribution of cotton and linen?
100%. It's 100%. There's no linen in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no linen. It's 100%. I think I don't have my tags on it up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 100% cotton chainette. And then they blew in, what is it, Iris?
Cupro.
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 Okay. So that's like I looked it up. That's like that. It's a byproduct of the cotton industry, right? Like, so they're trying to use something that would normally be thrown out.
Yes. Like I almost picture it as like the little tiny bits too small to use.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Well, we appreciate the report and the review.
Yeah. But I got compliments on it, and like I said, comfortable. So happy.
The blue is really pretty. So what's up next for your knitting, Teresa? Because last time you were showing us the cool vest, the shamare.
Yeah, that's the best.
Hold it back up for a sec. Ooh.
Oh,
Pretty.
So I have to do the back and the front. So you start the bottom, which is a split hem. The back is longer than the front. And you join it together and knit in the round for whatever many inches. Then it splits and you go back and forth, the front and the back. And then you're supposed to, after these short rows, which feel very weird on this, then you do a 3 needle bind off for the shoulders. I'm almost there. And then you pick up and do the neck, and that's it.
And there was cool texture I was just looking, it was cool texture at the underside seams. Yeah, neat.
Yeah. Oops. Let me do this side's better.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Pretty.
Yeah. So that's like the twisted rib up the side. And then it goes up through the armhole too, along the edging of the armhole, this twisted rib.
Love
Ooh,
that.
Here. So
I linked the pattern name in last week's
Yes.
video too.
So, and it goes real fast. I'm, stockinette does. So, but now I'm at that point where I have to pay attention. And in the evening, it's like, we all know it's hard to pay attention to serious knitting when you're tired. So,
Yes. Well, maybe you'll get a little restorative knitting time this
Yeah.
weekend.
yep. And I've been doing lots of planning and I bought lots of yarn and, my fleece came today. I haven't opened it. My fleece came today. So I'm excited.
Beautiful. Oh, nice. Can't wait to see what you do with that.
I have plans to make a sweater for my nephew. It's just a basic crew neck stockinette. So I think it'll look good.
Such a good color. She picked
Yeah.
the forest like my Sea Haven.
Oh,
Like I said, it just came. There we go.
Ooh, yeah.
oh, wow.
Excited. This is the same I used for the one we did in January.
Carbath, yeah.
Barbara.
Both of my carbeths, I used the naturals. So I know it'll feel nice. I'll have fun doing it.
It'll feel great. Yeah, yeah.
I'm excited.
Wendy, what are you working on right now? Hope you're muted.
This is a Andrea Mowry faded sweater. It's for
Oh,
my
nice.
granddaughter, but it's all peaches and stuff.
Oh, pretty colors.
Mm-hmm.
But I just finished 2 dovetail cowls.
Ooh,
Oh, look at that.
wow, that's
pretty.
beautiful.
It's interesting. Have you heard of this place in Vermont making tracks, Fiber Junction? There are 2
No.
women that started it not that long ago, and they have really beautiful yarns. And so they had a class on these cowls. But then today I discovered this JST. Have you seen the pattern she
I just saw a picture of it in my email from her. Look at
yeah.
that.
And I bought this beautiful meadow yarn to do that
Oh,
Mm,
because that's the yarn she calls for. So
cool.
let's see, it reminds me of the one Teresa was doing, just
Yeah.
some work up the sides.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice summery thing. I have not started the other one, the Sea Haven, yeah.
No rush, you know
No
us.
rush, no rush. Like they say, you're in charge of your own knitting, so you do
Yeah.
what you do. Yes,
You got it.
yes.
Pretty color.
And I just got my Noro. I ordered some from Cashmere Goat too,
Yay.
so I'm excited about that. Too many projects,
Oh, always.
always.
not, yeah.
There could be worse problems to have, right?
How true.
Uh,
I also have my Musselburgh hat that I've been working on. You know, the one that so I added in my additional colors. So I have this
Oh,
so and this is the
so pretty. I love it. And was this a sporty themed one? No.
this is Isolde Teague's Musselburgh hat. Musselburgh
Yes.
hat?
I
Yeah.
couldn't remember if the colors had to do with the sports team, but I think I'm confusing.
No, I had done one previous, it wasn't her hat, it was someone else's. No, actually, I take that back. It was her hat. I did it in the colors for my nephew's favorite football team.
Okay,
yes.
that's what I'm remembering. Yep. I love the colors that you picked for this one, so it'll be reversible. 2 different looks.
Yep. And I like this one because this is great when you're in the doctor's office or you have to, you want to take something with you and it doesn't require really any thought or
Uh-huh.
not really much paying attention.
Totally. It's great.
And tomorrow's the cast on for the Andrea Mowry knit along, the hat, the traveler hat.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard about that in her podcast.
Yeah. Always something.
Always something. Always something new to do, new to learn, inspiration everywhere. Mm.
That's a pretty color. What's that one?
Well, this is for my Kate Davies mystery knit along shawl, and I'm having a little tangle, so just give me 1 second. I really need one, like those yarn sweaters that we sell. I have a couple of them, but I really need one for every one of these 5 balls because they are continuing to get tangled here. Okay, so let me show you my 5 colors. I probably shouldn't show the shot, what I'm working on because of the mystery, because I wouldn't want to give any spoilers. But okay, so this is my dark. It is the Yowl Superwash. Really beautiful, kind of plummy magenta. And let's see. My light is Nimble Sock by On the Round. So this is a nice like ivory, and when you see some of my other colors, I think it really picks up on some of the others. So my pop color is this that's actually pretty accurate. It's like a coral, and
Pretty.
there's definitely like little bits of that in my light color. And then it called for 2 medium colors, and I think part of my issue with maybe not loving my first color palette was like I was really hung up on the like what are medium colors, and so I just went for it. These are my mediums. So this is Squash Blossom by 7 Sisters, which is cool because it also has a relationship with a little bit of coral in it. Like there's definitely a little orange. And then this was the happy accident that Karen of 7 Sisters made with, she's like, I don't know if this will ever happen again, but it was like we got 5 skeins, a couple on Meridian and a couple on the Astrid, and I think a couple of staff people scooped them up. Other people got a chance, but it's great because there's definitely these oranges that relates to the coral, and I really like it next to the dark. So these are very much like, yep, feels like me kind of colors.
Is this the mystery knit along that you have to read the historical background when you do it?
I mean, you don't have to do anything, but yes, there are books that go along. We're reading the mysteries of Marjorie Allingham, and Kate, being Kate, such an amazing researcher. She's sending out really cool weekly emails with like context about the times and places. I don't know if everybody saw this on the social media, but I made a really exciting discovery when I decided to wind my Yowl balls into balls as opposed to keeping them in the bullets. Like if you've ever worked with those bullets, you kind of can feel there's like this core that feels solid, and I just always thought it was a tube. You know, I've worked with it some, but I don't think I've ever gotten down to the bottom. I've always used it like as accent wool in socks. Well, it turns out that all of those times I was feeling that tube, I was inadvertently doing a prenatal exam on my yarn because they have a baby inside them that coordinates. It's like, look how cute. And it's just in there. Reinforcing thread, you know, for your sock heel if you want, but new to me. Wow. Didn't know it. Yeah, so the mystery knit along is kind of cool, and I'm really happy now that I feel satisfied with my palette choice.
That's important. You have to really like what you're working on. You have to You know, even if it's not something for yourself and it's for someone else, the color has to be right for you to work on it.
We had a really good start before you came on discussion about this very thing. How, you know, it's only with time that we've, at least some of us here, have learned to kind of trust that intuition that if it's just not clicking, you just got to move on and find something that, I don't know, do any of you guys watch the It's a Sarah podcast on YouTube? She's a sweet Dutch woman who has an adorable accent, and she talks about how like you have to excuse my Dutchy English, and but meanwhile she's podcasting, like doing the same basic podcast in Dutch and in English like twice a week or something. So no need to apologize. It's a Sarah. But anyway, it's a Sarah. Sarah talks about heart jumping, and she's like, and this was a very heart jumping project, and I'm like, this is exactly the this was heart jumping for me. The other one, just my heart was not jumping about it. So yeah, but yeah, it's a very sweet podcast, and she knits, she crochets. She had a big adventure with gauge swatching when I was watching this week's one, where she was trying to do a test knit, and we've kind of all been there, right? Like the yarn that you're trying just can't get gauge with, or you do get gauge, but you don't like the fabric. So, you know, all of these things that just feel very relatable to all of us out here. Also having those same problems. Well, we're coming up on 6 o'clock, and just another plea for pictures. This I will also be asking in the email. Send along any photos if you have them, because it would be great to see where we're all at. And next week will be our final Zoom for the Sea Haven. We will watch our slideshow. We will admire our progress. And Beth, we will applaud your progress wherever you are in your yoke, you know. All these Sea Haven journeys taking us different places, right? So all good.
Since I won't be here next week because I'll still be in Ireland, I want to thank everybody for just all the information and the tidbits and fun during the group, and thank you, Iris and Cashmere Goat, for sponsoring this.
Yeah, right back
Safe
at you.
travels. Have fun.
Yeah, have
Thank you.
safe travels, and we will be thinking about you and catching up with you hopefully in June. We're going to start the finish along. We will definitely have some Zooms scheduled, and so you can catch up with that when you get back stateside. And anyway,
you.
well, thank everybody for being here this week, and I hope to see some of you next week too. And enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you guys. Great to see you.